Hi everybody, welcome back to Bring Life Indoors. It's Moira here. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're doing well and having yourself a beautiful day. So if you wonder what I'm up to today is, yeah, I am busy extending this moss pole, which I've already done. I'm done. I thought of the video when I was already done. Excuse the mess. It's a mess. It's just soil everywhere because I had to repot. And obviously this is the old soil. The plant was pot bound. This is where it was. And yeah, so the situation with this is I had to either cut this because it was very long now, or extend the moss pole. Now I decided to extend the moss pole. Now it was sitting on this small moss pole. Now if you look inside here, I don't know if you can see, there's a moss pole in there. Yeah, here you will see it better. That's a moss pole it was sitting on, a size before the one I've just used. Yeah, so what I decided to do was take the next size, which is the one I've just used, and just slit it on top of this one, because the roots have, I couldn't take it out. I couldn't take this plant out to replace the moss pole completely, but I think it worked out just fine. I added this one on top of it. You can see the old one, they used a different kind of a moss. It's this kind of a moss. It's not the same as the one I just used, but it's okay. So what I did then, I just tucked in moss inside the holes, because then the pole I'm using is bigger. It's this plastic kind of a post which they use for this is bigger, so I had to yeah, the plant will have a contact with the moss. But this moss pole was going up until here. It was short, pretty short. It was going up until here, as you can see, where it actually ends, and where mine, yeah. But anyway, so I just slid mine in. So mine is from here. I had to secure it with these bamboo sticks that it doesn't wobble. It was very wobbly because mine doesn't go into the soil. It ends right on top of the soil because I couldn't remove the other one. It's a hole. And I used tie bags just to tie the whole thing together. The bamboo sticks is to secure it and keep it in place. And it is that long. It's just a bit before it touches the ceiling. It's super long. So I'm gonna finish cutting that up and wrap this plant around. We are done. We are done. I did it. The longest moss pole in my house. The longest moss pole in my house. We are done. I actually decided to do this last part of the video after a few days to let the plant pack up because it was dry and droopy when I was working with it. I prefer working with a plant when I'm taking it off the moss pole when it's dry because the stem is supple enough to move around. Is you're not gonna break them off so easily, by mistake. So I decided after I watered it, I'm gonna wait for it to pack up, then I can do this last part of the video because it really was not looking nice at all. It was looking all sad, but let me just show you quickly. So this moss pole almost touches the ceiling. I've got a plastic bottle in there as my watering system. When I need to water, I just keep filling that up until everything is watered well and thoroughly. And yeah, that's how long it is. And obviously soon I definitely will have to chop again. Yeah, there's no going up with this. My kids were reminding me after I finished this, they're like, Mom, you know that there's no going up, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know. Unless if the ceilings were higher. But anyway, that's how long this is, and I'm glad I did it. I really am. Look at those leaves. It's so sad that I lost leaf size because I took so long to give this plant a moss pole. So obviously the ones that were not attached and were hanging around and were overgrown, they became a bit stunted in growth. It was not much because it ends here. This is still big, but a few leaves, just few, about 4 or 5 of them are very stunted. So I can still chop it there and propagate those tiny ones, and I know I'll definitely it will go back to what it was doing, its glory. This is your heart-shaped leaf. This is your philodendron heart-shaped leaf. So yeah, I'm glad I did this. I don't move this at all, and I pray I never have to. I water it where it is. So yeah, so that's it. I am done. I wish I did it earlier. I really wish I did it earlier. The mistake I did is I brought this plant home when I bought it, and it was on a tiny little moss pole, not very long, but also very very tiny, and I left it and I never took it off. And I knew I don't like that moss pole, just how the size of the moss pole. I didn't have a problem with the moss pole, I had a problem with the size of the moss pole, but I didn't do anything about it. I should have actually just immediately when I brought it home, took it out of that moss pole and gave it this big moss pole and this height, because this height was still good enough for it at the time, and I wouldn't have had the problems I had to move it from, to extend the moss pole. But because I left it in the moss pole it was difficult. I couldn't take, the roots had grown into the moss pole at the bottom. It was just, I couldn't loosen it from that moss pole. Actually had to leave the moss pole, detach the entire plant of the moss pole that is outside, that is sticking outside. The one in the roots, I couldn't pull it out. I couldn't detach the roots. It was, yeah. And then I had to cut some of the roots off. I couldn't pull them out. I had to cut them, which was painful, but I know they will grow back. And then I had to slide in this bigger moss pole and stuff in a sphagnum moss inside and extend again, So yeah, I've learned my lesson. I shouldn't have done that, and I knew it. I knew, when you bring something home to say, Moira, you need to transplant this plant. You need to give it a new moss pole. You need to give it a bigger pot, but I didn't do that. But I'm glad I did that now. This, which is small, I'm sure it will either grow, but I know the next growth that will come, it will be better than what was already happening here. It's not many of them. It's just literally just 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, which are a little bit stunned. They're smaller, but I'm sure they can tell that they've been given something to grow on, and they'll begin to do that thing again. But anyway, it's been fun. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't be scared to extend your moss pole or to even change it up if you don't like it. And don't take time. If you want to do that, do it. That your plant can continue to grow and flourish without you disturbing it. But anyway, it's been fun. Have yourself a beautiful day.